You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmonds, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
So I asked Charlie if he's ready. He said live and ready, but we're not live today. So for everyone tuning in, this is one of, if not the most anticipated podcast across Dolphins channels. I think it's fair to say the quarterback ranking list, and especially when ESPN drops their quarterback ranking list for 2024 and Tua doesn't make the top 10, and when Chris Sims puts out his list and all that kind of stuff. I could sit here for ages and we could talk about a whole bunch of things, but there's no need. We have so much to get through, so many different lists to get through. So, Charlie Touche, how are you?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmonds, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast, and official affiliates of Fanatics, where you could be a fanatic of your favorite franchise. Gotta love it, Kadeem. Listen, man, it's the quarterback ranking episode. For us in the GTD platform and Go Time Dolphins, it really kind of, I don't want to say put us on, but it gave us some legs a few years ago. And I think it's because it's so, I think y'all say this word different in London. Y'all put like the different emphasis on different syllables. Controversy? Y'all say controversy?
We do, yeah.
You say controversy like controversy?
Yeah, controversy.
But maybe it's a different word I'm looking for. Go ahead. What you got?
So I was gonna say it's controversial if the different tenses.
Maybe it's a different word I'm thinking of.
Also, so you said a voice note earlier. We do say proofread. Like proofread is something we say in the UK as well.
All right, this guy. But look, we always get a guest on the quarterback ranking episode, and it went from one guest to multiple guests on the quarterback ranking episode. But we can't do the quarterback ranking episode without the original guest from the quarterback ranking controversy. ShareRide Steve, family here on Go Time Dolphins, GTD affiliate. Matter of fact, when we do the intro over to Go Time Dolphins and you see the gotta make it, lose their mind with it, Go Time, we're gonna start having like the GTD affiliates somewhere in the background, you know what I'm saying, just flashing, and you know what I'm saying. ShareRide Steve, bro, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It is the favorite episode of the year. It's it's great. I love debating, talking football, talking Dolphins, but this is some good stuff. Looking forward to it.
You the other day you asked me, hey, did you do your list? And I was like, yeah. And you were like, yo, this was like the hardest year to rank the list. And I ain't gonna lie, there's some truth to that. It was a little more difficult than usual. Does that mean that the quarterback position caught up to the rest of the positions? Remember, it was undersaturated at quarterback once upon a time. Now there's, I don't want to say an abundance of quarterbacks, but it does it feel like it's caught up to the rest of the positions?
Yeah, 100%. I think now more than ever, in least recent memory, there's guys that you can win a Super Bowl with, and you can go pretty far down the list. And I don't think we could have said that a list or two ago. It's like top 10 for me. Now it's like, whoa, there's guys in the second, third, man, maybe in fourth tier that you're like, if you surround him with the right pieces and you get him on the right, if everything lines up, stars align for him, you're like, I could see that guy winning a chip. I wouldn't have said that years ago.
Kadeem, I felt like once upon a time, maybe not even 4 years ago, there weren't 32 NFL quarterbacks in the NFL. And putting this list together, maybe there still isn't 32 NFL quarterbacks in the NFL, but it's way more than what there used to be before. And maybe I could make the argument that there's officially 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. You know what? These dudes are legit starters, but they're just not as good as some of the others. What were some of your speed bumps or hurdles that you had to overcome making your list?
So, peek behind the curtain. Part of the reason this episode is coming out when it is because people were messaging me back saying I need to take another day or two to get this list together because it was so difficult. And I think for myself, and I think even I'll mention him, Tom Valentine from PFF, was just like you kind of get to a certain number around like the 18 to 20, and then you're just like, it's a who's who of who am I going to chuck in there? I think in previous years when you said one quarterback per team, that's easier because you just go through every single team and go, okay, fair enough, you're the best X, Y, and Z. But when you kind of take that away and you go to top 32, that's where you're just like, this gets interesting because there's backups out there who arguably should be starting this season. There's starters out there who arguably should not be in the league anymore. So I think that's what probably the biggest speed bump was. I got to around 17, 18, and I was just like, I'm not throwing in names for throwing in names' sake, but someone who's like 18 could easily fall to 26, depending on
I
the
agree.
receivers around them and stuff like that. And I think that's what made it so difficult for me.
So I also noticed for me, I think this episode became a thing because of the doubt around Tua. And now that Tua has put together a few years that I thought that he could put together, I'm like, yo, this is my quarterback. I don't have to defend him no more. He's doing better for himself, right? Like I think his play defends himself itself. The list became a little bit more fun. Like I'm like, dang, how's this person number 12 or here but 6 here? Like so it opened up some new things for me. But then I seen ShareRide Steve's list, and I'm like, but how are you gonna explain this, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like just as a friend, I'm like, bro, you know this makes no sense whatsoever, right? So without further ado, we're gonna share all the lists. Shout out to Lanray made it doing the graphics for us. It's part of the reason why this episode came out a little bit in slow motion, but shout out to Lanray, put the graphics together for us. Shout out to everyone who participated in our list. They don't have to, they willingly do it. And we appreciate their time because it does take time away from whatever you're doing in your regular life to try to put a list together for Go Time Dolphins and then potentially come on the episode to defend it. So shout out to everyone who participated. I don't want to go through all the names. We're about to go through all the lists. I didn't want to forget a name, but let's see a couple of these lists. Well, let's see all the lists, Kadeem, and see where we start first.
So we'll start with Josh Katzker from the Same Old Dolphins podcast. So yeah, again, if you're not watching on YouTube, this is probably the worst episode to not watch because it'll be a bunch of graphics, can look amazing, and you can kind of, we aren't going to name every single quarterback on this list, but we'll go through some of the, I guess, the most prominent ones. So I don't think you'll be surprised that Patrick Mahomes is number one. And I'm 99.99% sure that Mahomes is number one on every single list. Like I said in the previous episode, if Mahomes isn't number one on your list, then I can't take your list seriously. Like, I just don't know what we're doing anymore. But to round out his top 10, so Mahomes number one, Josh Allen number two, Joe Burrow number three, Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud has gone from being a rookie to top 5 in the NFL. Jordan Love, number 6, Tua Tagovailoa, number 7, and then the rest of from, I guess, 8 to 10, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott, and Trevor Lawrence. ShareRide Steve, as you are not even our guest, you basically live here. But what do you make of, I guess, the top 10 so far?
Oh, you on mute, Steve? You on mute, Steve? See, it's been so long. that you forgot how we operate.
My bad. Top 10's okay. It's it looks a little different than mine, but I don't see anything. Trevor Lawrence at 10. I don't think a lot of guys are going to have him in the top 10 on most lists, and that's my guess. I haven't seen the other lists, so that's probably in the top 10, the one that stands out.
So what stands out for you, Kadeem? And we won't go through the whole list because it's up and everyone can see it. And if you're an audio listener, this is a reason for you to check out everyone's list. We'll probably go through everyone's top 10, but if you really want to dive into where everyone is on everyone's list, you're gonna have to find it for yourself on social media or on YouTube. But what stood out to you about Josh Katzker's list, Kadeem?
Anthony Richardson in 13th. That's one I was like, okay, rating him really, really highly of a somewhat limited sample size. But yeah, Anthony Richardson over Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins. I was a bit like, okay, that's quite interesting. And then outside of that, I guess it's no, I actually think that's it. I think that's the only one where I was like, okay, that's interesting. That's that. Everything else, for the most part, made sense to me because, as I said before, number 1 stands out, and then between 2 and 10, the order doesn't matter too much. It's kind of like the same names, and then after that, it's just throwing darts at a dartboard essentially.
Go ahead, Steve.
32. Caleb.
Yeah, bro, that was mine right there. Like I was like, and I know rookies are harder to gauge. You know what I'm saying? But what stood out to me the most about Josh's list was Caleb Williams coming in 32nd. And I'm like, I don't know, Josh. And this is not a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna come on the podcast and we're gonna talk to everybody. And I, honestly, there isn't nobody. And I might be being a bad host right now, but I'm not shocked at anyone's list. And I don't think that anyone had a bad list except Tom Valentine. You know what I'm
I knew that was coming.
Except Tom. But Caleb Williams at 32 for me, I like, I don't know, bro. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? I thought Caleb would be a little bit higher on people's list, especially since I was the person who came in with the rookie last year and CJ Stroud and put him higher up than everybody else. I just had to put that out there too. Just a little pat on the back, just a little bit. What you got, Kadeem?
No, and to be fair, yeah, the Caleb Williams, I think rookies down the bottom of the list doesn't really surprise me because it's a complete unknown. So that's why it didn't stand out to me. I don't think he is the worst of the 32 quarterbacks, but at the same time, sometimes something just surprises you. And if he has a bad season, it wouldn't shock me. That's why I was like, yeah, Richardson to me was the one who was a bit like, but
and I don't want to go on this too long because we got like 9 other lists to go through. But it was Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels was in front of him. You know what I'm saying? So so does that mean that the Bears picked the wrong quarterback? You know what I'm saying? So that's a question for Josh though. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was curious. But who we got next?
So it's only right to stick with the same old Dolphins podcast. So Aaron Katzker, and yeah, quickly going through them. Mahomes number 1, like I said, he's number 1 in everyone's list. And then the top 10 is Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and Jalen Hurts. So Aaron does not have Tua in his top 10. Tua falls 12th on Aaron's list. And then, yeah, again, Steve, Tua doesn't make the top 10. Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. And it's, man, it's not against Tua. It's not a knock against him. I think this list was really difficult because there's a lot of good, talented quarterbacks, and there's different styles too. That's what makes this list really tough too, because I think a lot of people, whoever makes their own list, you have a preference. Maybe you like a more mobile quarterback. You like maybe a more pure passer. So that's why the list will vary just for that. It's just preference. But just this overall list doesn't surprise me. CJ Stroud is maybe a little low. lower than probably most lists, and it really Justin Herbert is what stands out on me in this list. Him being at 14, middle pack.
Justin Herbert 14th, Trevor Lawrence 16th. I like this list. I'll just say I like this list. This is a cool little list. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the Katzker brothers, and I say this all the time when they come on the episode, and I'm like, yo, my favorite Dolphins episode after Go Time Dolphins is Same Old Dolphins. And I think it's because they're authentic, very authentic. And I respect their takes, whether I believe in them, their takes or not. Like, they're still good takes. I don't really rock with that take, but I respect it. So to say the unpopular opinion, like Justin Herbert at 14 and Trevor Lawrence at 16, I'm here for it, especially when I know that they can actually defend their take. So but same thing you're saying, Steve. Everybody has their own what they would want in a quarterback. But you about to say something, Steve?
Yeah, we have a Joe Flacco sighting.
Yes.
Oh man, I didn't even notice. I didn't even know where we at. 28. Is this the only list with Joe
Jameis
Flacco
Winston?
on it?
That's actually a double dip right there. Flacco and Winston on the same list.
I did not even. Hey, that's funny that Jameis Winston and Joe. I did not even notice. Shout out to ShareRide Steve for finding that. I think I'm gonna put money on it and say this is the only list that Joe Flacco made. But maybe he could have made a couple more lists. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Jameis Winston. That's funny.
Before we go into the next one, I have a question. Anyone surprised that Aaron Rodgers is so high up at number 5?
No, I'm gonna say no because I know between the three of us, I know I have a different take on what elite is. I believe once you are elite, it's like a Hall of Famer. You're never not a Hall of Famer no more. So I think there are only 2 elite quarterbacks in the NFL, one in Patrick Mahomes, one in Aaron Rodgers. I think those are the only 2 elite quarterbacks. Now, whether Rodgers still plays like an elite quarterback is another thing. And then he got hurt last year. I am not one to bring someone down on a list too much for an injury. I.e., y'all seen where I had Tua last year. He was my second rated quarterback overall. And then he was hurt in 2 seasons ago. So I didn't really move him for injury. Joe Burrow got hurt last year. We'll see where I have Joe Burrow this year. No spoiler alerts. So same thing with Aaron Rodgers. I can understand if someone says, well, he was hurt. We don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here for that.
Steve, anything on Aaron Rodgers being number 5?
No, I expected to see him as high as 5, maybe even a little higher on some lists. And then I expect to see him in the mid-teens on lists. So he's one of those guys that probably would, go either way. He probably has the widest margin. He's got to be like a top 3 guy, probably. I'm guessing if you were to really go through all the lists.
Yeah, I think I struggled with Aaron Rodgers a lot, which is why, not that I found it surprising, but I was like, okay, Aaron Rodgers top 5, and I think again as we go through this list, you will notice that Rodgers, is as high as top 5 in others, and then quite far, not like in the 20s and stuff like that, but in the teens. And again, it's just you just don't know what you're going to get from Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers with the East Rutherford paper planes as well. You just have no idea what you're going to get. So that was quite interesting for me, anyway.
Who else we got? What list we got next?
So I thought we would go with Charlie Wilson. So Charlie Wilson, his list, and I think it's easier to go through the top 10 and then we'll pick out, what surprises us. So again, Mahomes number 1, Lamar Jackson number 2, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud, Matthew Stafford, Caleb Williams, and Jalen Hurts. And then Tua comes in at 13th on this list, above him are Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers, and that's it. Yeah. So Tua's 13th. I guess Charlie, will start with you. What stands out for you on this list? And I also think, so quickly, I think it's the first time we see Michael Penix Jr. and Sam Howell make the list.
First time Michael Penix Jr. made a list, will not be the only time Michael Penix Jr. makes a list. But what stands out is Caleb Williams in the top 10, which this will be the highest rated rookie quarterback we've ever had in our quarterback rankings. Where he's just rated so high at top 10. And then I want people to understand the criteria. The criteria is ranking these quarterbacks given they had the best offensive line for their skill set, the best receiving core for their skill set, the best play caller for their skill set, and you had to take them for the next 2 seasons. That's what encompasses, or is what is encompassed in the criteria. So shout out to Charlie Wilson with this Caleb Williams being top 10. Tua coming in at 13th. Sam Howell might be the only list Sam Howell makes. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I'm not shocked at anything. Once you go from like 11 to 28, I can understand. Like we don't really know. And again, what ShareRide Steve said at the beginning of the episode, it's not like you can't win with those guys. It's just you can see success coming from people in that range. Steve.
Yeah, I agree. I think this list is, I don't want to say conservative, but there's no real surprises besides Caleb at 9. Caleb at 9 definitely is the only name to me that really pops. And Sam Howell, yeah, he's not going to probably be on many other lists either.
Yeah, I think conservative is probably the correct word, or the word I would use. You look at it and it's just very much a case of, okay, solid list. Williams at 9, wow. But outside of that, it's just, I think it's a fair list. And it's not a bad list. It's just there's not much to really add, I guess. I guess to quickly talk about it, Michael Penix Jr. at 31. Do you reckon that's a fair assessment given who's on this list? Not overall, but given who's on this list, do you think Michael Penix Jr. at 31 is a fair ranking, Charlie?
All right, I'll spoil alert a little bit. I got Michael Penix Jr. on my list as a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. I don't believe in Drake May. I don't believe in JJ McCarthy. I have very little faith in Bo Nix. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm being honest with you, I probably should have put Sam Howell on my list over Bo Nix. Spoiler alert, Bo Nix makes my list. You know what I'm saying? So some of these lists are very creative. I'm not mad at Michael Penix at 31, whether too high or too low.
Steve?
Yeah, I agree. He's a super talented guy that is really interesting, and it stinks that we're not going to probably be able to see him.
Crazy, bro.
Unless Kirk Cousins gets hurt. I mean, that's
crazy.
He's just getting paid too much money to be, and he plays poorly. And I don't think anyone sees Cousins playing poorly enough to be benched. I don't see that scenario. So I see it only being injury is the reason he's going to get on the field in the next 2 years, 3.
I appreciate Atlanta having the cojones to make a pick like that and pay a quarterback over $100 million and then take a quarterback in the top 10 in the same draft. Like, hey, it's the NFL. We've been around for 100 years. Might as well switch it up. Something's got to shake. So I like it, Atlanta.
Definitely. I think next up will be a fun one because his name was mentioned earlier. And I think this is, Charlie, for you, is this post what were you thinking list in Tom Valentine's? So Tom Valentine of PFF quickly has Mahomes at number 1, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Jalen Hurts, and CJ Stroud as his top 10. Tua comes in at 17th. Charlie, take it away.
Bro, no, listen. It wasn't shocking, but I'm like, is he doing this on purpose? Like, I just want to know. Is he doing it on purpose? Like, bro, do you really believe it? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I can't wait to have him on because Tom is another one. You know, when we have affiliates of the podcast come on, ShareRide Steve, we could go back and forth. Honestly, I almost called ShareRide Steve before we even got to the podcast to talk about the list. Like, nah, bro, we got to do this now. You know what I'm saying? But like, I know me and Steve could do that. Same thing with Charlie Wilson. You know, me and Charlie Wilson have a connection with MMA. And the Katzker brothers, we have a great rapport. To be transparent with the audience, me and Tom, we never talk except for when he's on the podcast. Seems like a cool dude, and we go back and forth. So for us to go back and forth, and every time we see each other and still have a respectful relationship, I appreciate him as a human being and not being so passive about his takes. I just don't believe he really believes that Tua is ranked 17, bro. Like, I don't believe he believes that, bro. I think he's just doing like, let me give this to Charlie and see how he reacts.
So before I was over to Steve, I know Tom. I've known Tom for going on 10 years now. Genuinely, this is where he ranks Tua. Like, genuinely. Like, I wish I could say like he's doing it for you, Charlie. Like, oh, like he hasn't paid me no money to like defend him. He genuinely believes that Tua's a essentially middle of the road quarterback. The only time me and Tom not disagree, but kind of have like a strong back and forth is when it comes to Tua. Like, our opinions of him are so different, but yeah, Steve.
I was throw it to Steve, but I wouldn't even ask the questions that I have or even tip my hand on what I'm gonna say to Tom. But I have some questions that I'm just taking everything within me not to say right now. You know what I'm saying? But Steve, what is it about Trevor Lawrence falling from grace on everyone's list, almost everyone's list, and Herbert staying so high up on everyone's list? Because in my opinion, it's almost the same thing. Like, they're name brands, and Trevor Lawrence was a name brand, and now people are starting to catch on to, hey, Trevor, like, you got to take this hit, and it's reflecting on their quarterback list. But yet, Justin Herbert is dodging all the bullets and staying in people's top fives. Well, how is that happening, Steve?
No, we had one list. I think Herbert was at
right. Yeah, we had a couple lists. We still have a couple lists, but
Yeah.
we did have a couple where he fell out the top 10. My fault.
No, it's simple. Herbert was in a terrible situation. He had the worst coach in the NFL, in my opinion. Like, the worst. That guy was lost. He had no control of his team.
Take this picture down, Kadeem, please. I got to see Steve better.
He had the worst coach, in my opinion, in the NFL. Like, the guy was lost. He lost control. It was just ugly. He was reckless. It wasn't pretty. And now he has one of the best, an elite coach, and it's going to show. That's the real reason. You're going to see it. The guy has all the talent in the world. The guy has a great head on his shoulders. Like, it's hard to knock on this guy, and you're saying he hasn't won yet. He hasn't won yet because it's a team game, and you got two wideouts that never stayed healthy, ever. Steve. Like, how many games did Williams and Keenan Allen, play average each year? I mean, it was a joke.
So I just have one question, Steve. Just one. Yeah.
Shoot.
Why wasn't Tua afforded that same excuse? Everything you just said, Tua inherited exactly the same way.
You know what?
Except Herbert had better teams than Tua did the first two seasons.
Okay. And who had the better team last year?
Tua.
Okay. And what did Tua do?
What did he do? He led the league in passing with 4,600. Hold on. Since you asked, I'm gonna answer. He led the league in passing with 4,600 yards, and in 7 games of the 16, it's 16 games.
17.
It's 17 weeks, right? Or 17 games?
17 games, yeah.
All right, in 7 games of the 17 weeks, right? 7 of the 17 games. I got it. Let me land the plane.
18 weeks.
7 games of the 17 potential games, there were blowouts. And he either didn't have to throw the ball in from the third quarter, let alone the fourth quarter, or was benched, or the game was just blown out and now the script is done. So he had 4,600 yards. Would have easily been a 5,000-yard quarterback if the games weren't blown out. Sorry, we blew them out. We don't have to throw them. Hold on. I'm gonna give you the floor. 5,000-yard quarterback. How many middle of the road quarterbacks have thrown for 5,000 yards outside of Jameis Winston?
I was just about to hit you with that. No, I mean, this is clearly there's a lot of educated people that submitted lists that watch football. This is just called the eye test. If you want to get lost in the analytics, that's fine. But you can defend pretty much any quarterback with analytics. I can be
asked what he did. I answered the question.
I'm talking about like playoff wins. I'm talking like what
playoff wins. How many playoff wins Herbert got?
What did Herbert have his rookie year? He threw for crazy stats his rookie year.
Yeah, it was cool. So how does that invalidates your excuse though? If he did it in his rookie year, how come he couldn't do it after that? He had to. He didn't have the same.
Because of coach and people surrounding him. That's it, man.
I'm gonna interject very quickly on my opinion on the Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and to a lesser extent Tua situation. I think when Tua and Herbert came into the league, Tua was coming off the injury. Herbert was kind of seen as this. Are the Chargers really taking him here because he didn't do that well in Oregon, but people just fell in love with the arm and the kind of the prototypical quarterback look. But Trevor Lawrence was kind of seen as like this can't miss prospect, guaranteed first overall pick. Oh my days, literally not even my words. Jesus Christ of the NFL, like had the long flowing hair, all that kind of stuff, and it hasn't panned out. And I think because of that, people are just going, "You were meant to be it, but you're not." He's just sliding down lists. For other people, he's staying high because of what he done at Clemson. So I think when it comes to basically our list, Justin Herbert tends to stay quite high because people didn't really expect too much of him coming out of college. Yes, he got picked 6 overall, but no one really thought he would be the rookie of the year and essentially play the way he's playing compared to Trevor Lawrence. I think essentially people expected Trevor Lawrence to have the career that Justin Herbert has had plus more wins. And because Trevor Lawrence has not been a bust, but hasn't lived up to expectations, he's just sliding down everyone's list to the point where people are like, maybe we just overrated him coming out of Clemson.
You know what? I think we should continue going through the list, but I will say this. That's a great question when you said hasn't met expectations. How many quarterbacks meet expectations? Like if we are really to go...
The good ones do.
Okay, the good ones do. So Tua's met your expectations, Charlie?
As of today, has Tua met my expectations? I would say they are where they should be.
That's a no. That's a no. You thought about too long. That's
what you mean. No. I had to word it the right way because you're gonna kill me if I say it wrong. So I had to get the right words. So yeah, like he did not meet my expectations. Like he still had to overcome the quarterback that sabotaged his career, an injury. You know what I'm saying? The incompetence of the people that he put around. Everything you said about Herbert, except he still performed and outperformed and overperformed and would have been in a category where there's only Hall of Fame quarterbacks had he played in third and fourth quarters of last season. So I'm okay with that. We didn't win. We haven't won playoff games. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I say it's a team sport.
All right. On this podcast, you guaranteed 35 touchdowns like 2 years ago. He hasn't hit 30.
I said last year. That was last year. I didn't do it the year before that. I didn't do it the year before. It was last year.
Either way. And then we were going to be rocking rings right now.
No. I said, hold on. Listen.
Yeah.
No. I said 2024. I said 2024. It's 2024
you're going to let me talk, man.
All right, go ahead.
So you're telling me that he's exceeded or has met, but there was a lot of like chest out. Like you were confident about this man's going to do this man's going to do that.
Yeah.
And he's fell short, but you'll hang on to that passing yards like it's a Super Bowl chip. Like, come on, man, calm down. Right. This man has underachieved. And that's not. It's everyone's expected to win. That's it, right? Like it's very simple. Lamar Jackson, he's failed under expectations thus far with 2 MVPs, just because the ultimate goal is a chip, and that's how you're judged in currently in history on chips.
If not winning a Super Bowl,
Sorry.
if not winning a Super Bowl constitutes as a failure of a season every single time, there's no reason to have these conversations. Everyone fails every single year. I am not of that belief. I think you can have a successful season and still not win a Super Bowl. It might not sound might sound like a participation trophy type of thing, but that's not where I'm going with it. I do believe Tua has met my expectations. He hasn't exceeded them. I said he would win a Super Bowl during his rookie contract. The latest is 2024, which we just so happen to be in by now. However, if we had a competent head coach, we would be ahead of schedule. But we did not have a competent head coach or an owner that happens to step down from all his other businesses so he could focus on the Dolphins more. I don't know if y'all heard about that. Y'all heard about that news?
Yeah.
Stephen Ross is going to be involved in the Dolphins more. And I don't know how much I like that, because it sounds like some Jerry Jones stuff might happen. You know what I'm saying? And every time you hear Stephen Ross's name with the Dolphins, it's a tampering thing. Like, yo, bruh, whenever I heard Stephen Ross's name in the past 4 years, it's been to sabotage my quarterback. I don't appreciate that. So if we just go by the last 2 years, Steve, when there was a competent front office, I like where my quarterback is at. And bro, you cannot lie, Steve. The arrow on Tua is going, let's do it for the camera. It's going this way. It's going up. Every single year, Tua has gotten better and better and better and better and better. And we about to go into this fifth season, 2024, and we're gonna have a parade like the Panthers did.
Let's just get your list, man. Let's just
There's still more. There's still more.
Oh, there's so much.
Yeah, let's speed it up a little bit. Let's just do top tens and point them out real quick. DC Kai Kid. Shout out to DC Kai Kid.
So DC Kai Kid has Patrick Mahomes number 1. Bear me 2 secs. Yeah. Mahomes number 1. Tua number 2. This is the highest Tua has been so far. Josh Allen number 3. Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, Jared Goff, Matt Stafford, and Joe Burrow. And then I guess notable mentions are Jarrett Stidham, Bo Nix, and I believe Aiden O'Connell. I think O'Connell appeared once before, but definitely Jarrett Stidham. I think it's the first time he's appeared, if I remember correctly.
What you got for us, Steve?
This is the worst list yet. This is I mean, I obviously I've looked through the whole list here, but I mean, just the top 10 alone is just. I mean, Joe Burrow at 10. Joe Burrow at 10. That's a wow. Aaron Rodgers at 19. 19. Okay, like he's an old man, but this is. I mean, and then Purdy at 6. Wow. I mean, that I just. This is head scratching. I ain't gonna
lie. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. We did kind of say speed it up, Steve. But look, I'm gonna say this real quick. Maybe, and I cannot speak for Kai Kid, but maybe the injury of Joe Burrow, like, yo, he haven't been performing the past couple of years, and like, yo, I could see that. It's not my list. I won't defend Kai Kid. He'll come on and say what he has to say. Maybe we could have ShareRide Steve come on the same episode. You know, we need Kadeem. We need ShareRide Steve music. When ShareRide Steve comes on the episode, it's like WWE, and it's ShareRide Steve. You feel me? That's what we need. So we can have Kai Kid 305 talking about his list, and then you hear the ShareRide Steve music. Oh, ShareRide Steve coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we need. You know what? We need everybody to have music. Like Kai Kid 305 needs his music. The Katzker brothers need to have a tag team, and they can wear the belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? All right, but that's all I got. And then Tom could be the Intercontinental champion. You feel me? But yeah, let's get into the next list.
So next up is LB. LB has Mahomes number 1. I think we've seen a trend of Tua at number 2. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, CJ Stroud. This is now the highest he's been. Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins. Again, honorable mentions. Mac Jones at 32.
McCorkle Jones sighting.
Kenny Pickett at 31, Mac Jones at 32. I think that might be the only time both of those guys appear in a quarterback ranking list in 2024. And it is insane because, as we mentioned, it's not one quarterback from every single team, it's top 32. I don't see a world where those two guys make a top 32 list, but it's not my list. I can't say much more.
Also, first sighting of Ryan Tannehill, I think. So it's funny how Ryan Tannehill made the list because I do believe Ryan Tannehill is better than Kenny Pickett and McCorkle Jones. But it's still funny how they both made that list. And you said this is the highest CJ Stroud been. I think someone has CJ Stroud at 7. Maybe even 6. So I think he's been higher already, CJ Stroud. But what you got for us, Steve, on this list?
Yeah, just 2 at 2 is what stands out on this list. And yeah, the bottom of the list is kind of funny. But yeah, nothing other than that. Pretty, I don't know, consistent with everyone else, I suppose.
I like it. Cool. Justin Herbert, 15, Trevor Lawrence, 16. Bro, I'm just saying, like, that sounds pretty logical to me. And that's not even what my list looked like, but that's more reflecting of what I thought it should be, if I'm being honest.
Right, next up we have Bert, and Bert, for some reason, actually, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm talking to myself right now. So, Bert's list, I'll quickly go through it. Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Lamar Jackson, number 2. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, Tua Tagovailoa, CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, and Jared Goff. One thing I will say to you, Bert, we said 32 people. Your list at the bottom has, at number 30, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. At 31, Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy. And at 32, Jarvis and Bo Nix. No offense, I think we need to avoid this list because, and at 29, Jacoby Brissett and Drake May. Dude, we said like 32. You've got like 36, 37. Like, what are you doing here? Like, this should not be allowed. I'm just saying, the strict 32.
Yeah, he missed here.
Bro, what's funny is when he sent this list, they had emojis next to him too. Like they had emojis next to the names. Oh man, bro.
I'll be doing that.
What you got about this list, Steve?
This one's not bad. This was one of the better lists, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. Y'all come on to the audio listeners, come on to YouTube. If there's ever an episode you're gonna watch the YouTube episode, you gotta watch this one so you can see everyone's list in its entirety and how Bert somehow managed to get 40 quarterbacks on the top 32 quarterback list. But who we got next, Kadeem?
Your boy Storey.
Storey.
Yep. So Storey's list, we have.
No. This might be the only list that Jimmy G makes the list, bro. And I know Storey put Jimmy G on this list for me, bro. like, yo, this is the first year you were invited to the quarterback rankings, and you might have your invitation revoked because Jimmy G made this list, bro. There's no way. So I'll go through this one, Kadeem. Patrick Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy. Tua comes in at 11. This is about the third list where Brock Purdy has made the top 10. Does that surprise you, Steve?
Yeah, top 10, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a little. It's like, that's interesting to me. That and what I appreciate about all these lists, if you could take this down, Kadeem, what I appreciate about all of these lists and everyone who participates, yes, we're mostly Dolphin fans, and everyone isn't a Dolphin fan who participated in this list. Let's say there's 10 lists. There's probably 7 Dolphin fans, I think. Different walks of life, people, the demographic changes, older, younger. So I appreciate how everyone's perspective on these lists. That's why it's less hostile for me. Like I'm like, these lists aren't as bad as they used to be when we were talking when we first started. And ShareRide Steve somehow managed to keep the status quo of you got to be kidding me. But we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I think for the list again, solid list. Not much more to add. So I believe we have 3 more left. Myself, Charlie, and Steve. So I will bring up my list and quickly going through the top 10. Mahomes number 1, Burrow number 2, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford. Tua comes in at 6. Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, and Trevor Lawrence. That's my top 10. I don't think anything stands out in terms of like names we haven't seen just yet. But guys, take it away. Feel free to rip my list apart.
Won't be any ripping. But what you got for us, Steve?
Yeah, I'd like to make one comment that not just this list, but many others didn't have Justin Fields at all. I find that to be very surprising. He's not a top 32 guy. That's
I don't know, Steve. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like Justin Fields is still playing high school football where he's the biggest, fastest, strongest on the field. So he'd rather not throw the ball and then he runs it all the time. So I can understand that, bro. But but he made my list. I'm just saying, but I see how Justin Fields could not make a list.
I don't know. There's a lot of, especially at the bottom, man. We've had a lot. Jimmy G. There's a lot of guys. I'm like, all right, okay. Overall, though, Kadeem, this isn't too bad. I'm surprised. The Tua and Justin Herbert surprised me a little bit. I didn't know that was your view. I thought you had that.
As in, you didn't think I'd have Tua that low or Tua that high?
Herbert that low.
It's both. It's both. Tua that high, higher than Tua that much higher than Herbert is what he's trying to say, but he just didn't say it.
No, that's fine. I think.
Go ahead.
It will be an interesting situation over the next few years with Justin Herbert. I just think same way, and to be fair, I probably should have flipped Herbert and Trevor Lawrence if I'm looking at it now. But overall, same way, if Trevor Lawrence is falling down people's list because he hasn't done much in the NFL, Herbert has had some rare moments, but I can't sit here and have Justin Herbert top 10 if what's he really done? And again, I know right now Tom is going, Kadeem, what are you doing? But it's a case of, again, there's only so long you can go, that's a great throw, that's a wow moment, that's amazing, before you go, okay, now can we put it all together over 60 minutes and can we do more? So I think looking at this now, I probably should have put Jared Goff at 10, Herbert at 11, and Trevor Lawrence at 12. I'm annoyed at myself at that. But outside of that, and I think where Tua is, I don't know, I just think there's guys better than him, but I still think he makes my top 10. So yeah.
You're a believer in Will Levis?
I ain't gonna lie. Will Levis at 21 is blasphemous.
I think, like I said earlier, once I get to like 18, 19, 20 and below, it's just like, I can't sit here and be like, yeah, Will Levis number 21, because it's a case of, if I do this on a different day, he probably falls 2 or 3 spots. I think that's why for me it was the hardest year, because I sent it in and I was like, I'm not happy with it, but I can't keep chopping and changing it, because at some point you just got to send it in. The one thing I would say is that Watson nearly didn't make my list. I was just like, what?
Just bring that up.
I think, again, it's, when was the last time? Obviously, he's had so much stuff going on in his life, but at some point, when are people going to say, have you been anywhere near average since he left Houston? He hasn't. He's stunk. And to me, 31, I could make a point where he doesn't make the top 32.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Deshaun Watson was one hopping passes last year. I'm like, this is not good. So I can see how some of these guys and going by the criteria, we're not saying who's the best athlete of a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? We're just saying for the next 2 years, who you taking? I can see Deshaun Watson falling down people's lists. And I remember when the first time we had this conversation, or maybe second time, I can't remember. Maybe first time we had this conversation, it was, oh, Deshaun Watson isn't on people's list. Imagine if he was on this list, he'll be in the top 5. And then what? The fall from grace is real.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Absolutely crazy. To be fair, I thought you guys were gonna rip my list apart, so I'll take that as a victory. Like,
nah, bro,
I'm fine.
Receiving your energy.
I think Steve has already said Kai Kid 305 has the worst list. I'm telling you, we got to get now. I did not say that, Kai Kid, and it is not my opinion. I'm just saying. But we got to get the WWE music going. Like, everybody got to have their own music. I would like that a lot.
Right, bear with me as I just get Charlie's list. We'll save ShareRide Steve for last. Yep. Perfect. So next up is Charlie Touche, and I know for a fact Steve is looking forward to this one. So Charlie Touche, Patrick Mahomes number 1.
Hey, can I do my own list? Can I do my own list, please? I got Patrick Mahomes 1, Lamar Jackson 2, Joey Bullets 3, Tua Ningamano Olapolo Tungavaloa number 4, CJ Stroud number 5, Rain Dakota Prescott 6, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, Matt Stafford. Notable, Justin Herbert 11th, and Trevor Lawrence 14th. What's up, Steve? What you got about this list? You know what? Hold on. I'll break it down real quick, and then I'll give you the floor. I will say this. This is the first time in Charlie Touche's tenure of Go Time Dolphins that we have seen regression from Tua. I think he kept climbing. I think he even his trajectory, like I mentioned earlier, is going up and to the right. You know what I'm saying? More yards, more touchdowns, more accuracy, more air yards, number 1 in all these categories. But I have to be fair and I have to be honest. Joey Bullets got hurt, and I can't use injury as an excuse to slide someone down 4 or 5 spots. Like, all right, Joey Bullets, you're on the clock. I'm gonna be real with you. The same way Trevor Lawrence hasn't shown up, the same way Herbert gets excuses, and I don't give these from the consensus. I don't give them the same excuses. They slid down my list. It's time for Joey Bullets to do something. Everyone goes to Joey Bullets. I need to be clear. Joe Burrow is he's the second best quarterback in the league. At once upon a time he was. But I don't know if he still is or not, and I need to see it. And now that I haven't seen it in so long, it's hard to justify. So now he's third on my list, and I ain't gonna lie to you. If I don't see the real Joey Bullets, please stand up soon. He's gonna have to take a dive too. Lamar Jackson, this goes against everything Charlie Touche believes in, being second and the second best quarterback in the NFL, but 2 MVPs. And when he played the Dolphins, he had to make throws that I did not think he could make consistently, and he did against us. So as much as I dislike having a quarterback that isn't a genuine passing quarterback in the top 5, he still has to be accounted for. And I think that running ability kind of skews the list because he's not a great passing quarterback, but he's a 2-time MVP on a team that is a juggernaut of a team year in, year out. So that's how Lamar Jackson made it to number 2. Something else that's worth note for me, Josh Allen is 7th on my list. And I'll tell you why. I used to have a car. All right, can we bring the list down, please? Can we bring the list down? Can we take down?
Can I just say, you're defending your list before Steve even gets to it.
Hold on.
No. It's Charlie. We noticed that Steve should have got to your list before you got to defend it. That's all I'm saying. Keep on going, but
it's not a defense.
You're justifying where you're putting people before people could even get to it. Steve, am I right?
Oh yeah, no, he knows exactly what I'm coming after him with. He like that's it.
Bro,
Don't even
all
have
right,
to
look,
say it.
I'll give you the floor after this. I used to have a car. All right. It was a real sexy car. I ain't gonna lie. Every time I drove the car, everyone's always looking at me like, yo, that is a whip, bro. I'm like, hey, thank you, appreciate it. You know what I'm talking about? But I knew there was something wrong with the car. And I also knew if I took the car out too long, I'll be ended up on the side of the road and I'm gonna have to get a tow truck. I'm like, oh, this is bad. You feel me? So I can only go so many places with this car so fast. So I had to go, hey, I only got a couple hours before the car turns into the pumpkin. You know what I'm saying? And I got to get it back to the house. That's what Josh Allen is, bro. I can never depend on the car. Josh Allen is super sexy and he does everything you think he wants him to do until it matters. And then he'll fumble the ball on the 1 yard line in the fourth quarter. Or then he'll throw a game-ending interception to a Pro Bowl receiver. Or he'll one hop a pass at the 5 yard line and couldn't get it in. Or he'll fumble the snap at the end of the game and couldn't even get the pass. Like, bro, he's not there when you need him the most. So all the other stuff in between the 20s doesn't matter, bro. And that's why my list reflects where it does with Josh Allen. What we got, fellas?
So Lamar Jackson, was he even in your top 10 last year?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
That would be interesting. That's what I wanted. I couldn't find it. I don't know why, but it doesn't make sense to me. You're preaching about Tua, by the way, was number 2, and Joey Bullets was never number 2 on your list. You mentioned he was the second best quarterback. I don't ever remember you acknowledging that, but okay, we'll play along. It just doesn't make sense why Jackson jumped so high when you can trust him. This guy has been pretty awful in the playoffs. Josh Allen has not been awful in the playoffs. He's actually shown up and he's performed pretty well overall. Jackson has done awful. I mean, it was a joke. And the thing is, against Baltimore, when the Baltimore played the Chiefs last year, what was the biggest knock about that game? The game plan, because they didn't run the ball. They put it in Jackson's hands. Like, hey, bro, you got weapons. You got a good line. You're playing at home. Everyone knows he's going to get the MVP at this point if he didn't have it when they played. And he stunk. And I know they had a slight chance, but overall it was bad. It was just he choked. So how is that man jumping up to number 2 on your list of all people too? Because this wasn't like this is someone that you really had high. All of a sudden you just got him high. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense to me, please.
I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan, but I try to be unbiased when I go through these lists. When I have to sit there and I know I have to defend the list, I'm unbiased as they come. I would like to think he's the MVP for a reason. What makes it difficult to put rank Lamar Jackson is that he's not a good passer, but his position is quarterback. So now he has to go somewhere on this quarterback list. And if you take Lamar Jackson off of the Ravens or out of some of these games that he keeps them in, it's just different. And it's like that. Everything you just said, look what he did in the playoffs. Well, he's not this. He can't do that. Everything you just said about Lamar Jackson, all of the cons about Lamar Jackson, every other quarterback has similar cons. Or some cons that you can add that is a knock on that quarterback, and that's why they're not number 1. There is not one quarterback in the NFL, ShareRide Steve, that if he played perfectly, that he would supersede Patrick Mahomes. There's nobody in the NFL if he played a perfect season and had 40 touchdowns and 5,000 yards and 7 interceptions and the best passer rating, you would consider better than Patrick Mahomes. So it's just not Patrick Mahomes is that good. So now every other quarterback has knocks on him like, he hasn't done this. Herbert lost a 28-point lead in the playoffs. Herbert hasn't won a playoff game. This person won a playoff game, but look what he did when he lost in the playoffs. Like, I don't know if that's fair, but that's why we're ranking quarterbacks the way we are ranking them with the criteria. We didn't get to your list yet, Steve, but go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Tua. obviously. So you have him dropping, which is interesting.
Yes.
I don't numbers wise, he had more wins than he
Yep.
ever has last year. He had more passing yards. All the numbers are all up. Everything is, as you put it, we're the going up, right? This
Yeah,
is
we're going up.
That
Going up.
why? How is he dropping then?
All right.
Tell me why he's going
Again.
down when you told us earlier how he's going up. All of his stats are nothing.
Yeah.
But
All right.
Very quickly.
Go ahead.
When I pulled up your list, genuinely, one, that was the first time I'd seen it. Two, I thought I made a mistake because I was like, "There's no way Tua's at number 4." Like when you were like, "Whoa, wait," I was gonna say, "Yo, I've messed this up." Like awful production. I genuinely didn't realize that you had dropped Tua, but at the same time, I genuinely can understand it. So it'll be interesting to hear your reasoning for why you dropped him, because I can see a scenario where even someone like yourself, who last year had him number 2, in a year where Tua plays even better than he did previously, he
That's
drops down the
fair.
list.
Bro, I have to be unbiased. Bro, I don't do stuff just for. I'm not Skip Bayless. They call me Slick Bayless in my group chat. Like, bro, I don't do stuff like Tom Valentine. Like, he just does it just to do it, just to make people mad. Listen, I genuinely believe, like, yo, I cannot justify losing to the Ravens and Lamar Jackson winning MVP. Yeah, you had injuries. There are things that, like, there's circumstances that couldn't be avoided. I get that. But at the same time, Joe Burrow was injured. Like, is he going to come back the same Joe Burrow? I would like to think I have to give him that benefit of the doubt. So therefore, you got Tua, where he had a situation, a circumstance where there's 5 games. All you got to do is win 3 of them, and we're going to go to the playoffs. Yeah, we lost like 12 people. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was super bad. We're gonna have a home playoff game. You have all that. It's there at your feet. I think you have to find a way to win one of them games somehow, some way. I understand if you can't, but at the same time, when it comes to Go Time Dolphins rankings, it's gonna have to be reflected. Not only that, we have something in my Go Time Dolphin fans and affiliates called Easy Money. Right? Every week I pick the easiest bet there is to make on the Dolphins prop bets. Sometimes it's money line, sometimes it's Tua throwing 2 touchdowns or more or whatever. Most of the time, it's Tua over a touchdown and a half. It is just the easiest prop bet to take. It's like, yo, this is money until it's not money. And I caught a trend doing easy money where I'm like, yo, this is not a safe bet anymore. And I got off of the Tua over a touchdown and a half before it killed us. And I think there is a distrust in Coach McDaniel and Tua inside the 15 when it comes to throwing touchdowns. I don't know why, and I don't know if it's true or not. This is just me observing as a fan, as a student of the game, and as a Tua believer. I'm just observing. Raheem Mostert has 18 touchdowns on the floor. Right? Devon Achane coming in, touchdowns on the floor. The passes that Tua makes in the end zone kind of feel like, you remember this, Kadeem, when Tyreek Hill was wide open on the 1-yard line, but he wanted to spread the ball around. You know what? I want to get Jalen Waddle a touchdown because he's been out for a couple of weeks. I want him to have some fun with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't pick the best touchdown. There's the best options with the ball when it comes down to red zone. And I noticed that. Doesn't mean I do not believe in Tua. Doesn't mean I don't think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I really do think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But for this list, and we talk about the next 2 years, he just lost all kinds of weight. And I said it in one of the previous episodes. We have never, ever, 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 ever seen in the NFL a quarterback change his body type in such a short notice and have success with it. I don't even know if we ever seen it at all, let alone have success. So as a fan of the Dolphins, as a believer in Tua, and someone who wants to see him perform, I don't know what that's gonna look like when Tua loses so much weight, switches it up. McDaniel not throwing the ball inside the red zone no more. I have no idea what to expect, and that's why he's 4th on my list. Y'all made it seem like he's 14th on my list, bro. ShareRide Steve, I hope you have your life over there. You know what I'm saying? I know you're struggling over there. If for all the audio listeners, y'all don't got the visual, but ShareRide Steve going through it online. But you want me to pass it? I'll pass it, Kadeem. You go first, and then let ShareRide Steve get his breath back. But after I said everything I said, what do you think now?
No, again, it's genuinely, I would have been disappointed in you if you kept two out of 2. And again, not because he had a bad year, but just because, you know, peek behind the curtain. I think even you was like, after last year's rankings, you was like, probably
I could have had Joe Burrow at 3,
yeah,
at 2. I could have.
yes,
and again,
yeah.
I can make a case. I can make a case right now today. So you said peek behind the curtain. Let's be transparent. Last year I had Tua 2 and Joe Burrow 3, and this year I have Tua 4 and Joe Burrow 3, and I can still make a case for Tua being 3 and Joe Burrow 4 because Joe Burrow got hurt. So it's hard to rank, but it's not intentional or unintentional or biased or unbiased. Like, it is me really like, yo, what do I genuinely believe? And there's a question that I am adding a wrinkle to the quarterback rankings this year that I will ask Steve after we get to his list. And it'll put everything into perspective, and it'll come full circle why I still trust Tua to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But Steve, I'm glad you're still with us. You was choking up a storm over there. You all right, bro?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so what you got?
Did you have him misranked in previous lists?
Tua?
Yeah.
The only quote-unquote misranking I would say was I could have had Joe Burrow 2nd and Tua 3rd. That's it. Last year, I could have had Joe Burrow 2nd and Tua 3rd. Turns out, Tua had a better season than Joe Burrow last year, so it was ranked appropriately.
Okay. And just to go a past comment of I couldn't defend myself. Excuse me. You said, do you want him to get more touchdowns in garbage time?
Oh, you saw this? Hold up. Let's be a private text message with me you talking about, right? That's
no, it was on the episode. You said, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, you mentioned it, saying like, he came out of the game so many times and blah blah blah.
Right.
Blah.
Oh, that's because all right. Let's clear this. Let's clear.
When I said this man hasn't thrown 30 touchdowns.
Okay, no, all right, good.
Against the Chiefs, how many touchdowns did he throw?
I don't remember.
Was it?
That's where I want more touchdowns. Those games where the lights are the brightest and he just didn't have 4 or 5 touchdowns like we needed.
Steve, don't you think every quarterback wants that though? Like and I think I said that last time. Like, don't you think every quarterback?
The elite guys have those games. The elite guys.
So I never said Tua was elite.
Oh, okay, your term of elite, but you have him.
I did not say Tua was elite, bro. And I will stand by it. Mahomes and Rodgers are the only 2 elite quarterbacks in the NFL. I do believe Tua can become elite, but I don't think he's elite right now. I don't think Joe Burrow is elite. I don't think no other quarterback in the NFL is elite other than the 2 that I said. And even with that being said, the best of the best quarterbacks have performances that they wish they did not have to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, bro, I wet the bed that day. You know what I'm saying? I wish I did not wet the bed that day. So it's not like, and for whatever reason, maybe it's the fandom that people take it out on. Oh, this quarterback isn't getting us over the hump. But like, yo, this quarterback, look at the adversity this quarterback had to face. And yeah, he didn't throw a touchdown that game, but it was 10 below 0, and he had 2 people on the field that started and all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's fair to just say the same. Even if you flip it, yo, Tom Brady has a ring because of Malcolm Butler's interception on the 2-yard line. Like, okay, that's the opposite of what we're saying. So it's like, are we really going to give credit to Tom Brady for that, or a lack of credit for Tua because he didn't perform well in a playoff game? I don't think that's accurate. And last thing I would say before we get to your list, because we're running on time, Pat McAfee. Shout out to Pat McAfee, an actual NFL player who was an actual punter. Put this out there. He said, yo, Andrew Luck was our quarterback. So if Andrew Luck comes back with a minute left in the game, scores a touchdown, puts us up 4 to win, and I come out and shank a punt, and then the other team scores because I blew it. Andrew Luck doesn't get credit for that comeback. It's the same thing. Like, it's just how you can skew stuff. So I'm like, we got to look more deeper than that. And that's why I think the criteria is what the criteria is. What quarterback do you trust? And matter of fact, Steve, before we get to your list, we will do this right now. I said there's a wrinkle in the quarterback ranking list. And here's the wrinkle. And I'll set the table real nice. And I'll ask you first, Kadeem, before we get to Steve's list, and then we'll go into Steve's list and his answer. 4th down and 8. 1 minute left in the game, season on the line. This is it. What wide receiver in today's what wide receiver today would you rather have? Would you throw this ball to? You could pick any wide receiver. We're not talking about a quarterback at all. It's 4th and 8. You got to get this first down. 1 minute left. You're on the 50. Who do you want to throw this ball to? You could pick any receiver that's playing today. Kadeem.
Funny enough. So I would eliminate immediately Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like, the ball would like not even just like.
No, I get it, bro. Like, you can't trust their hands. Yeah. We don't know if they're gonna come down with the ball. But go ahead.
I think realistically, I think even Steve said it's probably Justin Jefferson. I can't imagine there's many better quarterbacks in that situation. Sorry, wide receivers in that situation. You would put your faith and your trust in to come down with the ball, especially even if it's like a 50-50 ball. I'll be like, yeah, if I misthrow it and it's not perfect, I trust him to bring the ball down and keep the drive going. So I'm going to go Justin Jefferson.
All right, and for those who don't know, Steve also said Justin Jefferson, and I'll let him tell us why. But before I let you tell us why, Steve, this is why I'm asking the question. I'm going to ask this question to everyone who's going to come to the episode about quarterback rankings, and this is the new wrinkle. What receiver do you want running this route for you, who can create separation, who's going to catch the ball, who's going to try to get this extra yard, who's going to go up for the ball, all this stuff? What receiver do you want? My answer is Davante Adams. It's just for my dollar, I want it to be Davante Adams. Why is it Justin Jefferson for you, ShareRide Steve?
Because I seen him do it in Buffalo.
Right.
It was game on the line.
One hand snag, Kirk Cousins overthrew it.
It wasn't even a 50-50 ball. Like
pass interference.
He had like 5% chance of catching that ball when looking at it live, and it was incredible. So I put Davante too. So it's we're not far apart here, but cool. I just seen Jefferson do it, and he's the man right now.
The reason why I asked that question, and the reason why it's a wrinkle in a quarterback ranking conversation, is because it's followed up with, what quarterback do you want throwing that pass? 4th and 8, game on the line, season on the line, 1 minute left, right? And I'm not going to ask what quarterback y'all want, but that has to be in your mind when you're doing a quarterback ranking. So when I rank Lamar Jackson, like, dang, bro, I don't want Lamar Jackson throwing that 4th and 8. You feel me? But there's nuances where, all right, well, Lamar Jackson might not have it at 4th and 8. You know what I'm saying? It might be a 4th and 2 because of his abilities. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this. I want Tua throwing that pass. Like, on everything I love. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. We seen it. We seen 3rd and 12 and Tua throws a touchdown. We seen 4th down and Tua throws it. But I will say this before you come in. We also seen Tua throw the Buffalo Bill pick and then the Green Bay pick. But every quarterback in his career has done that. Game on the line, throws a pick. Every single one of them has done it. But 4th and 8, game on the line, 1 minute left. I asked what receiver y'all want. I wanted Davante Adams. If I had to pick a quarterback to throw that 4th and 8, I'm comfortable with Tua being my quarterback.
Steve, can I inject very, very quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason I said no to Tua, it wasn't even those two stuff you mentioned. We was all there in Germany. It was like, hey, game on the line. I've got a flight to catch, but take it to overtime. I don't know how many chances you want to, but one of those, there was the underthrow. There was so for me right now, I can't pick Tua. Yes, he's had moments where he's been able to do it, but we was all there live in the stadium. We were just like, hey, Tua, you blew it. Like,
did Tua blow it, or did Tua get the blame for blowing it? Like, we don't know that Tua blew it. Like, we see the play develop, we seen the bad snap, we seen the wrong route it looked like, but we don't know who blew it.
We don't, but we also know that if we're picking a quarterback in a national way possible, it's Mahomes. Mahomes is probably the only one you're picking in the situation.
Nah,
And
I don't want Mahomes throwing that pass. I pick Aaron Rodgers over. I take Mahomes. 4th and 8,
Steve,
game on the line. I'll take Aaron Rodgers before I take Mahomes.
Steve, let's get to your list because we could do a whole
Right.
thing.
Yeah, I'm just ready to avalanche on him. Go ahead, man.
Right.
Go.
The final list, ShareRide Steve, as it comes up. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Burrow. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford, CJ Stroud, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers. Tua comes in at 11. And I guess noticeable names, there's not. I think at this point we've gone through every quarterback around. Basically, there's no one new on this list that we haven't discussed already. As we knew, Justin Fields was going to be on this list. He comes in at 20. What I will ask very quickly, I know because Charlie's face is ready to get to this, but
it's not.
Justin Fields over Russell Wilson. That's obviously the can battle in Pittsburgh right now. Do you think Fields wins it this year, or is this more just projection, and that you reckon Fields will be able to show why he was taken so highly previously and essentially beat Russell Wilson for this job?
I think Wilson will get the job just because that's what they need. They need a guy to not turn the ball over and just not lose the game. So Fields isn't that. And Fields he has a higher ceiling, and he's more of a, he's just a superior talent at this point in his career.
I don't know. I don't know, bro. I have a hard time believing that Russell Wilson is finished. I don't believe that. And even I think I ranked him too high on my list, obviously, before last season. So my list reflects that I don't believe he's finished. But I think he has receivers now in Pittsburgh that he wasn't in the best situation in Denver. He's in a better situation now. It's 1 year. He has somebody knocking on his door behind him. We're going to see what Russell Wilson has left right now. This is it for Russ. And Justin Fields is like, but I've seen Justin Fields not throw the ball. Like, he doesn't throw the ball. He is a high school quarterback in a grown man's body that option left, option right, option left, option right. Like, it is that can't win in the NFL, bro. I can't do it with Justin Fields. And I wish he was better. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. And I think I've seen it maybe on a couple other lists, but since it's ShareRide Steve, I got to treat you like the big brother. Bro, why is Jordan Love above Tua on this list, bro? Jordan Love is ranked 9th and Tua is ranked 11th. How is it that you trust Jordan Love more than you trust Tua? I don't understand that. Can we bring the list down, please, so everyone can see ShareRide Steve, please?
Well, let's just talk about Tua right now. He has a superpower. I know we repeated this, but seriously, besides his accuracy, which is great, also great. He's a phenomenal accuracy. He can put the ball there. But after that, if you were to say, what's his next superpower? His next second best superpower, Charlie, what would you say? And here's the thing. If I were to take 10 people and ask them the same question, would you think I would get a consistent answer? Same answer?
No, you wouldn't.
Okay. So what that tells me, he doesn't have one, because that's it. He has one superpower.
So
the other thing is, no, let me catch up. I got to catch up, man. You're talking about game on the line. You want
game on the line.
Let's talk about this past season, and this is a real thing. Mm-hmm. You always talked about Allen going in glitch mode, right? You can rely
glitch mode, super glitch.
Okay, well, guess what? Tua has taken that torch. He is now glitch mode Tua, man.
Get out of what?
Listen, he has had so many throws this past year that you're like, what are you doing? Who are you looking at? This isn't like I just threw a bad pass, like I underthrew a guy. He's just like throwing it in the face mask of the opponent. And it just like luckily falls on the ground most of the time recently, but it's been real bad. He's good for like one, maybe two of these throws a game, and it doesn't make any sense. We're not talking about under pressure. We're not talking about a defensive player just making a phenomenal read and like doing some Ed Reed or legendary sneak coverage, whatever I'm trying to say here. I'm sorry. It's egregious. He's just had some awful decision making that you cannot justify, and it's happened a lot.
Can I interject very, very quickly?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
No, bro. Hold on. To follow on from what Steve said, genuinely, and you can go back. I said that about Tua for a while now. It's not just for my opinion. It's not just this season. It was last season as well. The season before, there'll be one or two throws a game. You're just like, Tua, I don't know what you saw, but no one else saw it. And if anything, you're quite lucky he didn't get picked off. I think that's been my one knock on Tua. And again, even through him improving and getting better and better and better, I still think it's one thing where I'm just looking at watching the games going, you got away with one there because whatever you saw, it makes no sense. And I think at first was putting it down to, was it the Cardinals game in his rookie year where he goes to throw it away and he gets intercepted and they end up putting it back for a foul. And at the time it was like, that's a rookie mistake. He'll get over it. I don't think he will. Right now, it doesn't look like he's going to get over this what was that throw? I hope I'm wrong. But I just wanted to interject because, yeah, Steve, I don't think that's a this season issue. That's been going back, in my opinion, a few years.
Every quarterback has that, though. Every quarterback has
not as bad as Tua.
Hold on. No, I'll let y'all talk. Every quarterback has passes every single game where it's like, hey, what was that? I'm sure he wants that back. Now, I'll be real with y'all. I see it with Tua. I see what y'all saying, but it's not as bad as what you guys are making it seem like. Yo, this is too prevalent, and it's every game, and it's 5 passes a game. You're going to have passes that you want back every game. Now, what I was saying was glitching is at the worst possible moment you can imagine. I've probably seen Tua glitch one time, maybe twice, ever.
Okay,
ever.
Charlie.
So meaning, hold up, game's on the line, and you wet the bed. Like, this is on you. Like, I've probably only seen that twice. I see it 8 times a season with Josh Allen, bro.
Charlie, right? Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
PFF, is that it's something that you guys
go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
They ranked their quarterbacks, and I looked at their list, and I'll read briefly. It's a very short little paragraph of Tua. It was his best season yet from the former 5th overall pick. As a talented, Tua earned the highest passer grade in the regular season of any quarterback and made 35 big-time throws. Good for 3rd in the league. Fantastic. Here we go. Next line. However, his 3.5% turnover-worthy play rate was higher than every other quarterback in the top 5 of big-time throws. And his 25 turnover-worthy plays were the 5th most.
Very quickly, Charlie hates that stat. Me and Charlie were back and forth. Charlie was like,
nah.
Charlie, that is the one stat Charlie is never, ever, ever going to accept. Look at your face.
A turnover-worthy play, bro? Like, what is a turnover-worthy play? Did it get turned over or not, bro? Like, listen. No. This is the reason why turnover-worthy plays should not be a stat. And it probably isn't really a stat. It's just someone who said, hey, that could have been a pick. But, bro, what is that? So you just explained it. Hold up. So what happens if the receiver throws runs the wrong route and it hits the DB in the hand and the DB drops it? That's a turnover-worthy play on a quarterback? That's wild to me, bro. Hold up. I'll give you this. What's your boy? Y'all favorite receiver? Wide receiver one? Jakeem Grant? No, not Jakeem Grant. His homie. Devontae Parker. Jay Cutler. I'll keep going back to this. Jay Cutler threaded the needle between two DBs closing in on Devontae Parker, hit him in the chest. Ball bounce out, gets picked off. How is that on Jay Cutler? So if that happens to a quarterback and it becomes a turnover-worthy play because the receiver...
That's not a turnover-worthy play.
All right, that is not a turnover-worthy play. If a receiver runs the wrong route, it's on the quarterback. All I'm saying is that is also on the quarterback, though. That's a pick on the quarterback, is my point. But the turnover-worthy play is always going to be on the quarterback, regardless of what if we know what happened in the play or not. That is the wildest. It's just the wildest analytic, bro.
Charlie, the plays we are talking about, and if you really made me do it, I could easily do it. You go back to the games. These are throws that isn't like, oops, you can understand the wide receiver went in instead of going out. No, this is him standing there, having plenty of time, protection, and he just throws an egregious ball, which you can't even make sense of it. Like, you don't even know what happened. It's like all of a sudden he just had a concussion that play. Like, you know what I mean? Just like, bro, he just had an outer body experience where it's just like, I don't know what I was doing. I just
turnover worthy play, bro. Like, we're not even talking about the game. We're talking about practice. We're not even talking about the actual interception. We talk about, oh, that could have been an interception. Not the game. We talking about practice. So we're not talking about an actual turnover. We talking about something that could have been a turnover. Like, this is what we're doing? Like, so hold on. Y'all brought this up. Y'all, no, it's not the same stat. Y'all brought this up. So you telling me that when we talk about the best quarterbacks in the NFL, the knock on this quarterback is, oh, he could have had more turnovers.
Oh, that's his decision making, Charlie. This is what it's based off of. This is his command.
And I'm telling you that stat does not signify decision making. It's not because we don't know what happens in the play. So it's like, dang, like how can we put blame on one person?
You know what?
And we can't even like allocate responsibility for the
that's just like saying a guy that fumbled the ball but recovered his own fumble. That's okay.
No, that's a fumble. And matter of fact,
it's no harm, no foul. Nothing happened.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? Hey, you know what's funny about that? I was about to say we are, my bad, Kadeem. We play fantasy football, right, Steve? Did you know in fantasy football, when you fumble the ball and recover it, you do not lose a point? Did you know that?
No, I did not.
When you fumble the ball and the other team gets it, you lose 2 points. Okay. I am in a fantasy football league where I'm like, yo, this has to be a point deducted if you fumble the ball, bro. You're not supposed to fumble the ball. If you fumble the ball, either you dropped it or the person took it from you. It is on you. But a turnover worthy play isn't always on you. So that's why it should not be like a legitimate thing. And I am also in defensive quarterbacks. When a ball is intercepted, that bounce off a receiver's hand that was on target, that should not be an interception. That should be a drop on a receiver and whatever turnover on the receiver stat, not on the quarterback stat. So that's why I'm like this with turnover worthy plays.
Okay, so when a quarterback goes under center and then he doesn't get the snap clean and it's fumbled on the ground, whose fault is that?
That should go on the quarterback. Okay. But it's not always the quarterback's fault. It should go on the quarterback.
Okay.
Can't put it on the center.
The center never screws up.
Right. Even though the center it's most likely on the center, most likely, but it can't go. There's no stat says, hey, center fumble this ball. Like, it has to go on the quarterback. There's nobody else involved.
There you go.
There's no one else involved.
You're penalizing a quarterback that it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, I know that. I understand that. But for us to dig on a quarterback, regardless of who it is, I'm defending all quarterbacks with this one. That is the dumbest stat there is. There's the dumbest analytic, bro. It's like we cannot even in all of when you go to that stat and you say, oh, turnover worthy play. Like, let's pull up these plays. If there's 10 of them, let's pull up all 10 of them and then go through the play and say, so this is on the quarterback, or see, this is why it's on the quarterback. Yeah, so you're gonna have drop picks. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, and I'm also not saying that Tua doesn't make what y'all saying, because he does do it. I'm just saying that every quarterback does it. And Tua doesn't do it that much more than every other quarterback is all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he doesn't do it. And all I'm saying is it's not as bad as some people make it seem.
I feel like when we had this conversation last, and I probably said the exact same thing. I'll say it again now. Essentially, outside of sacks and touchdowns, and I guess I think those are the only two things. Every other stat you can basically argue and go, well, how do you know it's not X or Y? From interceptions, for missed blocks, for a whole bunch of things, because unless you knew the exact design play from both the offense and defense, PFF and whoever is doing these stats and recording them, there's some kind of subjectivity in it. So I can understand when you see something like turnover where you play, that's like, well, that makes no sense because what's a turnover where you play? But like I said last time, and as Charlie rightfully pointed out again, this time is when you see a throw and someone goes, that should have been picked, that's a turnover where you play. Even if it's because of the receiver ran the wrong route or he slipped or whatever. Charlie, you can make like if Tyreek Hill slips and Tua throws the perfect ball, but because Tyreek Hill slipped, the DB's all of a sudden there.
I said that last time, Kadeem.
I
said that about the receiver slipping.
Of course, yeah.
So it's an on-target pass, and all of a sudden the receiver vanishes because he's on the floor, and then it hits the DB in his hand and drops it.
And it's really unfortunate that gets counted as a turnover worthy play. But the opposite is like what you mentioned, where Jay Cutler throws the ball, Devontae Parker has a Devontae Parker moment, and all of a sudden it's getting returned the other way. It's like, so how is that my fault? Sometimes in life, things just aren't fair. And
no, it doesn't have to be though. But it doesn't have to be, Kadeem. Like the same way, we're gonna get a bonus time, so we keep going. But the same way, people would say, "Oh, look." If it was Patrick Mahomes and not Jay Cutler, if Patrick Mahomes threw that pass, everyone was look at the accuracy. Look how good of a pass it was. The receiver failed him. If it's Jay Cutler had no business throwing that ball. Look at all that traffic. Nah, bro. It's not the same. That's not right. It's not this, and it's darn sure not a glitch, ShareRide Steve. It is not fumbling the ball on the 1 yard line with 6 seconds left in the game. It is not throwing a pick in overtime to a wide open receiver. It is not one hopping your number one receiver on the 5 yard line on the last play of the game with no pressure. It is not fumbling the ball underneath the center with no pressure in the end of the game, bro. That's glitching. Tua has not glitched the same way, not even close to Josh Allen, bro.
Charlie, what's his second superpower, Charlie?
His brain.
Jesus.
His brain.
You give at least like anticipation or something like. Jesus.
What's funny?
Golly, bro.
Y'all don't trust Tua? Hold up. Y'all don't trust Tua?
No.
So y'all don't trust him.
You ever hear people sit around talking and be like, God, remember John Elway? He had the best brain. Like, God, that guy had the best brain.
Bro, he's cerebral, bro. What
does that mean, dude?
It means he is capable of running, of operating the system, the Ferrari, bro. Like everyone's not capable. Hold up. That means you have to dumb it down for other people. There are other quarterbacks in the league that you have to dumb it down for. Like, I can't trust him to do this because he doesn't have the brain capacity for it. Tua does.
So you're telling me after 2.3 seconds, which he's phenomenal, right? We all get that. We're the best at getting rid of that ball quick. And it's by design, not, it's a combination of everybody, right? And then after that, everything gets significantly worse. Like, it just does. We can go look at the numbers.
What is worse? What do you mean worse?
His completion percentage, his touchdown rate, everything after like 3 seconds is nowhere near as good when he's getting the ball out quick. Do you agree with that?
Why, though, Steve?
Because he can't go through his progressions as well as he needs to. And he doesn't have his legs.
But why? Why can't he go through his progressions?
Nah,
bro. It's because getting the ball out is protecting him and the offensive line, bro. It's designed that way. It's designed, bro.
But Jalen Hurts. We have to go off script.
Oh, now we're going off script. Off script is different from quick release.
That is off script.
No. Our script is different from quick release. So when Jalen Hurts has time to sit in the pocket, because and Tom Brady, by the way, was notorious for this, just doesn't even move his feet. Just I'll just wait for somebody to come over before I throw this ball. Tua can never have that time, ever. Like he'll never have that time. So the ball has to come out quick. So yes, after the ball doesn't come out quick, he's scrambling for his life, which I agree with you guys. He is not an off-script quarterback. Now, that being said, he should be protected better up front so he doesn't have to be. That's my argument. Like, yo, don't put him in a position to become a scrambling quarterback when you know he's not a scrambling quarterback. So how do we do that? We get the ball out of his hands in 2 seconds. And if we don't do it in 2 seconds, understand this play is probably not going to be successful. So what we should do is put a better line in front of him so he doesn't have to get the ball out in 2 seconds and he doesn't have to scramble for his life. That's math, bro. That's simple elementary math.
Dude, we're all Dolphin fans here. You're acting like we're enemies, that we're just coming after Tua. We're just talking real. It's the truth. The man doesn't go through his progressions well. He just doesn't.
We're going to get in the bonus time because this is going to be it could have been a 2-hour episode. ShareRide Steve, bro. I love you to death, bro. I am fortunate to have you as a friend, as a Dolphin fan, just someone that I could just holler at, talk to, laugh up with, you know what I'm saying, have real moments with, and we just met in an Uber. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am so fortunate to have you in my life. Kadeem, we ran into each other in a pub in London. Like, you had on a Dolphin jersey. I'm like, yo, this dude's a Dolphin fan from London? Yeah, mate. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a dude right here. You feel me? And for us to come together and have a podcast and we could just chop it up and talk about our favorite team, I love it. And it is never a dull moment with us. I appreciate both of y'all boys more than you know, although some of y'all takes might be trash. But hey, I might have some trash takes too. I do. But it's not on Tua. I promise you that. Listen, man, you want to see us out, Kadeem, before we get up out of here?
I think my favorite thing about the episode was we got to ShareRide Steve's list. Started on Tua, and that was it. Talking about stats and all that kind of stuff. So maybe in bonus time.
You notice how Tua, he didn't answer how Jordan Love is. He didn't justify Jordan Love being better than Tua. He couldn't do it. He didn't do it. But I get maybe in overtime.
We got caught up on his brain. Tua's brain.
This guy. Hey, ShareRide Steve, thank you for coming on, bro. Like, you always welcome here. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmonds and ShareRide Steve, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no
already.
So, Steve, outside of Jordan Love over Tua, very briefly, talk us through your list.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, there's not a lot of like reaches in my opinion. I got Caleb Williams kind of in the middle. I really don't know. There's a lot of people are super high on him and some people are just not. So, I not a lot of reaches. Brock Purdy at 12, I think, is very respectable. The guy's just been proven to be a winner. I dropped Trevor Lawrence to 18. I think that's probably the biggest.
I was proud of you for that.
Head scratcher, but yeah, he just he needs to do something, and I acknowledge that. So it's just the problem with him is he doesn't even pass the eye test. Like he does have some good games where you're like, okay, I can see it, but not consistently enough for me at this point. Even with his situation with Meyer and everything at the beginning, like that's kind of past now. It's you got Peterson, you gotta get the job done now.
Trevor Lawrence, if I can interject real quick, Trevor Lawrence doesn't trust himself for whatever reason. I don't know why. He just doesn't trust himself. Like he doesn't take his shots down the field. He doesn't take his opportunity. He doesn't risk. He's just no risk. Like, yo, I don't. He's almost playing like the world's coming down on him for some reason. Like, bro, no one cares about you, Trevor Lawrence. You've been getting all the excuses in the world. Like, no one's coming at you for nothing. Like, you could throw all the picks you want. No one's gonna get at you. And then you put yourself in this situation because you don't take the risk. He doesn't throw those passes, tight window passes, and he's capable of doing it. It's the wildest thing. I don't know how it happened. Kadeem, you mentioned it earlier. He was the best prospect since Andrew Luck, since Peyton Manning. Like this, it was supposed to be a given for Trevor, and he's just a name brand quarterback now that doesn't perform like the way he's supposed to. It's I don't understand it. And again, like, and I know it always goes back to Tua, compare quarterbacks to it. It doesn't have to be that. And for me, I'm not there no more because I think my quarterback has proven himself. So I don't have to do those. Well, oh, Trevor Lawrence still like, nah, I'm not really gonna put too much energy in a Trevor Lawrence Tua conversation. But for Trevor Lawrence, I do wonder why it is, bro. Like it's weird that he's not unlocking what needs to be unlocked to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL like everyone thought he would be.
Yeah, he just doesn't have consistency, man.
It's weird, but I don't get it. But go ahead, Kadeem. You about to say something?
I've got one last question before we shoot off here. So you've seen probably about 40 different quarterbacks named. Most people kind of had the same, I guess, 20, 25. And then there were a few kind of like sprinkled in, your Justin Fields, your JJ McCarthy's and stuff like that. But very quickly, who do you think is the middle of the road quarterback? So there's a podcast a couple of years ago called the Around the NFL podcast, and they came up with what they called the Andy Dalton scale. Whereas if you was ranked higher than Andy Dalton, you were a team, you didn't need a quarterback, playoffs, Super Bowls, all that kind of stuff. Below Andy Dalton, you need to go and find yourself a quarterback. And if you had Andy Dalton like the Bengals did, you were kind of stuck in purgatory. You would win enough games to challenge for a division, might make the playoffs, but also lose enough games.
It's like they made the playoffs. They would make the playoffs, but then lose every game in the playoffs. That first game, every playoff.
So in 2024, who do you think is the Go Time Dolphins, Andy Dalton? Starting with you, ShareRide Steve.
I think if you look at my list, it's the guy we just talked about. I think Trevor Lawrence. I think if your name is below Trevor Lawrence, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not where you want to be. So I think everyone above Trevor, I think you can win. I think Baker. I'm just kind of a Baker fan, I guess, but he's probably the only guy that's not like a certified franchise quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, I think the rest of the guys are just like bona fide franchise quarterbacks.
Even Russell Wilson, he's below Lawrence on your list.
Yeah, I think at this point in his career, he's a guy that's just a game manager. I know it's a negative thing, but it's not for me. I think the problem is he was so good in Seattle because he played off script. That was his superpower. That guy was just amazing at creating something out of nothing, and he was just the backyard football king. And when you get old, you can't do that. You don't have the legs. You don't have, your body just isn't going to allow that at some point. And I think he's kind of hit the wall. He might be in the best shape of his life, and he might have some glimpses of that still, here or there. You're like, oh, wow, is he back? Consistently? No. So I think he's a starter. I think he could be a starter for the next 3 years and do well. I like Pittsburgh this year, to be honest with you. I think they got a very nice roster, great coach, and I think Wilson just can't crash his car. I think it's a tough division. That's his real problem. But they have a really nice roster, in my opinion.
Hey, if you could bring my list up for this, because I think it's funny. I think the first middle of the road quarterback that we get to on my list, is Geno Smith, and he's ranked all the way at 24. So based on what you said, it's not like he's at 15 and everyone above and everyone below. It's like, even back to that question about who do I trust to make that pass on 4th and 8, and obviously if it's the best receiver you want running that route or whatever, maybe Kyler Murray is middle of the road. But here's where the list, you know how I'm sure this happened to everyone. You'll have Kyler Murray. I have Kyler Murray at 13, and then Trevor Lawrence at 14, and then Brock Purdy at 15. Well, I'm like, I kind of like Brock Purdy a little better than Kyler Murray right now. But then I'm like, then I have to move this around to get that right. So just to answer your question, the middle of the road quarterback, in my opinion, is Geno Smith. Because like, I don't want to end up with Geno, you know what I'm saying? But he's not. It's a weird question. And going back to my 4th down and 8 example, that came from Devontae Adams, by the way. He was on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp, and he was like, hey, who's the top 5 receivers? And then Devontae Adams said, this is how I determine a top 5 receiver. He said 3rd and 8. You know what I'm saying? I just dressed it up a little bit better. 4th and 8 game on the line, all the good stuff. Like I don't mind it being Patrick Mahomes. I don't mind it being Joe Burrow. I don't mind it being CJ Stroud. I don't mind it being Rain Dakota Prescott. I absolutely do not want Lamar Jackson throwing that pass on 4th and 8. And I'll be honest with you, all jokes aside, I don't want it to be Josh Allen either, bro. Like, there's no way you can sit here and say you trust Josh Allen to make that happen, bro. I cannot. Like, for the life of me, I can't justify having putting faith in Josh Allen to make that pass. But middle of the road quarterback, I like where the NFL is now, bro, because I think that the parity has always been great, and I think the quarterbacks have bro, there's quarterbacks out there. You like, dang, this quarterback's still available, like Carson Wentz, and these quarterbacks are not available right now, but at one point, like, dang, Carson Wentz is out there, Ryan Tannehill's out there. These are backup quarterbacks in the league now, where Justin Fields, backup quarterback in the league. I like Sam Howell, backup quarterback in the league. So I like where the NFL is with quarterbacks. It took us a long time to get here because it was not always like this.
Yeah, you can see why there's across the league why fan bases are excited. You know, like the Colts, everyone, you know, like maybe people we don't really think about, but there's legit talent at the quarterback position. Like, I don't think I've ever seen before.
Yeah, I think just in the 4th and 8th situation, I think with people like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, even if they can't make the pass, they might be able to scramble and pick up that 1st down, which is, I guess, why they probably are what they are in terms of quarterback. My teams are kind of looking at that.
For sure.
I think for me, I know I said one person. I think there are a bunch of quarterbacks, but I think for me, it's probably like a Derek Carr. Like, if you got Derek Carr, it's like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, he'll make us competitive, but also we probably have to try and find someone else. And I think, yeah, like everyone we've mentioned if you've got one of those quarterbacks, the chances are you're probably going to need to try and find someone in the next year or two to essentially give yourself a realistic chance of trying to win a ring. But another quarterback ranking episode, you know, done, sorted. We could have gone for 2 hours.
Never know.
On peek behind the curtain, it's 1:25 in the morning for me. I'm up in 5 hours for work. Did not think we'd go that long, but also it's a quarterback ranking episode with ShareRide Steve and Charlie Touche. It is always going to go long, and this is always amazing. So, Steve, as always, thanks for gracing us with your presence and your, let's say, interesting quarterback ranking list. Same with you, Charlie.
Hey, no doubt. Shaq Barrett episode out right now on Patreon. Get our thoughts on Shaq Barrett walking away from football. It actually came out pretty good. Me and Kadeem had some pretty good thoughts on it. But y'all check it out on Patreon. Appreciate you showing up today, Steve.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. I love doing it.
Oopsie.